Hey guys, it's Lucy. So I am currently filming on a very crappy camera. I haven't made a video in a while, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to start filming and everything and uploading more consistently. I know I've been really bad at it lately. It's been kind of a crazy-ish summer, just, weird. I don't know, I just haven't been totally feeling like making videos, but I'm going to now. So I'm gonna read you guys a thing that I wrote. What? No. I'm going to tell you guys, what is this list? Okay, anyway, today we were talking about coming up with characters for writing books and novels and all sorts of things. So, I'm not the best writer in the world, obviously, but I do think that I'm somewhat okay at coming up with characters, and I need new characters for my new book. So I thought maybe sharing some of these with you guys will help me with coming up with more ideas for characters. So this is going to be top 5 ways to come up with characters, and then also some little tips and tricks and things like that for keeping them good and not sucky. So yeah, you'll understand when we get into this. So number 1, TV show characters. Now, obviously you shouldn't steal other people's characters, but if their characters, certain characters' personalities and things like that kind of like inspire you or give you the feels or whatever, you can put some of their attributes into your own characters. For example, I based my favorite character that I've ever created in my entire life on a character from the show Revolution, and his name is Miles Matheson. That's the character from the show. And I based my favorite character, James Matheson, I may have stolen his last name, off of that character, and that actor specifically. And that character that I created based off of the Revolution character has become so much of his own person, aside from who I originally based him off of. But that show is actually what inspired me to write the book that I'm working on now, and I have been for like 5 years. And sometimes it can be good, like if you have a childhood character that you've just loved, like the prince from The Princess Bride. I mean, okay, if you make a character, because everyone loves that movie from their childhood. I didn't watch it till I was like 15, but childhood for most people. If you love that character and you want to put some of those attributes into your own character, you can absolutely do that. You just have to make sure that you don't steal the character completely. But if it's something that motivates you to write and helps you write because you love the character and the parts of that character that you've put into your own, I think it's fine. And that's what I do with some of my characters. I actually based this new character I have. His name is Aristo, and I based him off of Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules in the 90s version of the Hercules TV show, like Hercules and Xena.
Only one man dared to challenge their power. Hercules.
My character is based off Hercules. I did some research on like Greek mythology and stuff for him. And he's like kind of based off, like, okay, I picture now Hercules like Kevin Sorbo, so that's what I picture my character Aristo as, but it's not obviously the exact character. Number 2 is kind of the similar thing, and that's actors. If you like an actor in something, you can absolutely put some of their like personality and attributes, and sometimes also like mannerisms and stuff. Like if you don't really know how to write like mannerisms on people, look at actors you like and watch what they do on their shows and things like that, and then try to put those into your characters. The same thing also for coming up with like actors for your characters. It can help sometimes if you've based a character off of an actor, because it's really fun to cast your characters, and it's a lot easier when you already have someone in mind from the beginning. So like for instance, like I said, Billy Burke, who played Miles Matheson, is who I based my favorite character off of. And then it's funny because I based this character named Jasper. He looks like, oh crap, what is his name? Sam Claflin. Claflin, is that how you say it? From Hunger Games and everything. He looks like him, and that's the actor I used for him. But I gave him this personality that's like a mixture of like my dad's personality and Kramer from Seinfeld. So he's just this big ball of like silly, but like as Sam Claflin. So it's such a weird idea of like him being silly. So like he has these characters' personalities and my dad's personality mixed with the character from like Seinfeld, but looking like an actor that isn't anything like that. So it's weird. But another one is people that you know in real life. Like I said, I gave Jasper some things that my dad does. And this can be good too, because it's kind of fun to put people you know into your stories, just as long as you like, make sure that if it's someone that you don't like, you change the names and make sure they're not exactly the same. And also, like, you don't have to ask for permission to put someone into your book, but, like, I don't know, sharing it with people can be fun too. Like, if someone has a character, everyone that I know pretty much has a character in the series I'm working on. And some examples of this is one of the very main characters in my book is based off of my Uncle Win because he likes, katanas, and he has a cool personality that I thought would be really cool, like to do some, like, sword fighting warrior in my book. So I used him in it. And I also put a lot of the emotion that all of my family feels into the main characters in the book. So, like, the main character, June, is a lot like me. So I give her and a few other characters some, like, ways that I deal with grief and ways that I deal with life in general. And I'll think about what I'll do in a situation, and then I'll put that into their characters, and it makes it easier to write. Some characters are based off my parents, the way they deal with things. And then I have one based off my aunts, some based off my grandparents and aunts and uncles, and just, like, anyone and some friends, too. Adrian, don't do that, whatever you're doing. Please. Thank you. Anyway, so yeah, that's a good way to make characters as well. And number 4 is random characters you come up with, which is probably the main way people kind of come up with things, like characters for books. Just use your imagination. Think about, like, I don't know, just character designs you would like, and personalities that you like, and just, like, come up with things from your mind. There have been some characters that have just been, like, I'll try to think about, like, why did I create this character? How did I come up with them? And then I'll realize, you know what, this is character that I just completely came from my mind. Like, I have a character named Scarlet, which is bright red hair. She can turn into animals and shapeshift into things. And I realized I kind of had this design for this character forever. Like, I've always wanted to make a character like this, so it just kind of came into my mind. Also, I didn't put that on this list, but same with, like, randomly coming up with characters. If you've had, like, imaginary friends or whatever from when you were little, those can make good characters too. I have Icy, who was a dragon that wasn't my imaginary friend. She's in my book. I have Rosalie, who's a fairy that used to visit me, and she's in the book. And then number 5 is fairy tale characters, and also, like, Greek mythology and anything, like, mythical. Like, okay, the Lunar Chronicles, Marissa Myers came up with, but, like, not every character, but all the main characters are based off fairy tale characters. So that could be a fun way to do it too. For instance, I have Belle from Beauty and the Beast. I have Rapunzel, and I have someone else. Obviously, I have Hercules, and then also I have, like, Frankenstein and Miss Muffet. Miss Muffet? Is that how you say it? Whatever. And I have things like that as well. So I've come up, like, with my own variation of those characters, but they're based off those. So that's my list, and then I have more things written down. What did I write down? Here's more tips about, like, how, like, creating characters and making them and everything. This is keeping their personalities the same, which can be hard. I realized that recently. Sometimes my characters' personalities will start to change throughout the books, especially if I haven't written about them in a while. And it's hard sometimes to, like, keep track of it because it's like you're one person. Your personality just comes naturally to you and the things you do and everything, but with characters, you have, like, hundreds of them that you have to figure out each, like, way they'd react to each thing and make sure it's realistic to the characters. So here's a little list I made of how to keep characters' personalities the way that they need to be. Listen to music that reminds you of the character or characters, which I playlists for each of my books, and then for the series I'm working on right now, I have playlists for each of the important characters, and sometimes that can help too. Like, it's kind of interesting when you can find a song that, like, speaks what your character is feeling that you may not have totally been able to write into the book, but it just kind of reminds you, oh, this character, this is how he feels inside. Watch shows with characters like them. That is what I do. Once again, Miles Matheson from Revolution. Every time I want to, like, kind of refresh on how to write James' character, my character, I watch an episode of Revolution, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how he's supposed to be talking. I haven't been doing this. I need to kind of keep on track with, like, what his personality would be like realistically. There's a hair on my blanket. Another thing is watch fan videos. If you watch fandom videos, you type in, like, okay, like, if you want to find something for an anime, type in AMV, or if you want to find something for any other type of show, type in, like, fandom video or something like that. And people will make these edits to videos for certain characters to certain music, and sometimes that can help you too. That helps me. I also do that for Revolution a lot. And then think of what you or other people would do in situations. So, like, I mean, put yourself into that character sometimes as well, and think, like, okay, how would I react to this situation? And think about how other people would, and then, like, think about the personalities. Like, if I have a character that's like my dad a lot, I'll think of what my dad would do in a situation and then apply that to the character. So that's a good way of looking at it as well. And then here's a what to avoid list, is making characters totally different. I don't know what that means at all. I don't even know what I meant by that. Making characters totally different. I don't know what that means. Maybe I meant that. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're going to skip that one. Because, yeah, you should make your characters original and not totally the same as each other. I don't know what that means at all. Okay, anyway. Giving them too much tragedy. Yeah, you don't want, like, your character to be, like, sometimes I feel like I do that with my character, June, where it's like she's been through so much, and yet she's always so kind of, like, not happy, but she's, like, sweet and isn't too broken. So you want to give your character the most amount of tragedy as you want for their personality to, like, reflect on that tragedy. For instance, like, if you want your character to be really, really sweet and happy and bubbly, you don't want to give them too much tragedy, because realistically, if they've had, like, every single person they care about die, they wouldn't totally be this bubbly, happy person all the time. And same as, like, if you want someone to be all dark and mysterious and dramatic and depressed and all this, then yeah, you give them tragedy because it fits with the character, but you don't want to give them too much. And you also want them to have breaks in between. This YouTuber my uncle got me liking, who talks about writing, she talked about that, how, like, you want them to have some breaks from the tragedy so people can talk and they can have a little bit of downtime before everything goes to hell again. But, like, yeah, you want them to, like, not have tragedy and danger 24/7. You want there to be breaks in between, and you want to make sure your characters don't have too much of it, because after a while it's either unrealistic or you won't be able to realistically showcase the character and how they deal with that. I've had some problems with that in the past, but I also know what it's like to grieve people, a lot of people. So I think I'm pretty okay at, like, writing realistically how characters would deal with that. And maybe I should make a video on that, actually, if you guys want me to. But, so yeah, just make sure it's realistic and you don't give them too much tragedy. Another thing to avoid is making them too boring or not interesting enough. That's true. You want to make sure that you flesh out your characters, because these are supposed to be real people, and the people reading your book need to feel like they're flesh and blood and they have hearts and souls and all of that. So if you make them too boring or too flat, which I do sometimes, I think it's good to make backstories for every single one of your characters, which I haven't done completely, but it's good to make a backstory for every single one of your characters, so that way, even if it doesn't come up, you know them inside and out. Like, there are some characters of mine who don't really have huge backstories, and I don't really talk about a lot because I'm just, like, not good at fleshing them out, and, like, I need to do that more, because I need to, even if they're a side character, they need to feel as human as possible, because technically you're trying to make people believe that they are humans that people should care about. I mean, not so much with side characters, but you still don't want them to be boring. Even your most boring character should still have something interesting about them. Another thing to avoid is making all their voices the same, which I know can be hard because you're one person with one voice, but that's also why sometimes watching other actors and seeing how other people react to things, like people in real life, me and actors and stuff like that, it's good to see that, because you don't want each character to sound the same. Like, my character Scarlett is very, very angry, and she definitely reacts to things differently than Jasper does, where he reacts to things and deals with things with more of a comedic, goofy, happy, lighthearted approach. Scarlett will probably react to things being a little bitchy and being as sarcastic as she possibly can. So you want to make sure that each character reacts to something in their own way, and that their voices aren't all the same, because if they are, then it's boring, and then the characters are not unique or different. So yeah, that's all I have, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry, first of all, my hair needs to dye. Second off, I'm sorry if I was a little bit ranty or whatever. I haven't made a video in a while, but hopefully I'll get back into it and get better at it soon. So yeah, I hope that information helped. If you have, or whatever it was, if you guys have any questions or any suggestions for videos, please comment below. Also, if you guys want me to make a video on how to write grief, I can totally do that. That would be so much fun. I probably will do that anyway. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Well, they encourage your complete cooperation. Send your roses when they think you need to smile.